Crime victims in New Orleans are having to wait for police on high priority emergencies, and that number has doubled this year. Many of those emergency calls are also being downgraded to non-emergencies.
Our David Hammer investigation NOPD call waiting that broke that story last week, and today the City Council heard more about the issue. David was at the council meeting and joining us here in studio with the very latest.
Yeah, Cherise and Katie, as you say, we had that story last week, and today the council heard about police response times from crime analyst Jeff Asher. They also heard about how victims advocates can help take the pressure off police. And now they want NOPD leaders to take swift action to help the depleted police force before the problem gets even worse. Morgan Lamondre is policy director at the victim advocacy group Sexual Trauma Awareness and Response. She testified to the New Orleans City Council that police often take so long to respond to sexual assault complaints that victims are gone on arrival.
It almost looks like possibly like a survivor is not cooperating. I think it's clear in New Orleans that's not the case, but it's one of those things that it doesn't tell the full story.
As we first reported last week, crime analyst Jeff Asher found NOPD is downgrading rape calls to non-emergency status 44% of the time, and 40% of those calls are marked gone on arrival.
If an officer is going to respond to a carjacking or a murder or some other situation where a person's life is actually in danger, it makes sense. It is a process that NOPD uses, all police departments across the country use. The problem is that they're doing it more often this year than in previous years, and when they do it, the outcome is more dire. City council members want NOPD to hire more civilians to take reports to take the pressure off commissioned officers who face a mountainous backlog of calls.
The sooner the urgency, the immediacy of addressing the civilianization issue will actually help with retention because it will stop the burnout.
Asher says NOPD would need to hire 80 civilians just to reach the national average for the civilian percentage of a police force.
We have the solutions. We see them. The solutions are there. But let's move.
Now, NOPD spokesman Gary Sheets says the sex crime unit does follow up on these downgraded calls, even if they are marked gone on arrival. But he says the department is still working on new policies that would prevent sexual assault calls from being downgraded to non-emergencies without approval from the sex crimes unit. Cherise?
All right, David, thank you.